You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Lou Need Lewis, and today I have the privilege of introducing a very special guest to the show. But first, let me tell you, my next guest believes my podcast, Best Morning Routine Ever, is near and dear to her heart. Why? Well, that's because her own morning routine has revolutionized her life. Today, I want to welcome Nancy Stevens to the show. Prior to creating her simple yet affirming morning routine, Nancy felt like she was always behind life trying to get caught up. Her morning routine gave her, a busy mom of 4 school-age boys at the time, to quote her, it gave her some me time to just be me. And it gave her space to dream and create the steps that to create the life that she wants. Nancy believes she wouldn't be where she is today. #1 best-selling author on Amazon for her book, The Beauty of Authenticity, a group fitness and yoga teacher, a lifestyle speaker, and a healthcare and life coach. All of this took root when she found her space in her morning routine. And she practices what she preaches, teaching her clients these tools. Nancy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to sharing and just being a beautiful guest on your show.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have you on the show. I'm looking forward to discussing empowerment mindset. I know you are very big on affirmation. I read a blog where you had affirmations to set you up for 2020. So we'll talk about affirmations and the need for affirmations. And of course, we'll talk about self-care because that's what you are all about that. So we'll get started.
Wonderful.
Give us a little background about your journey.
My journey began, I would say part 2 of my journey began when my husband and I moved cross country with our 4 young boys. We were basically had no support group. And I found myself doing it all, being a mom, companion, caregiver manager, and I began to get very frustrated, angry, and I was to the point where I was not in balance, but I didn't know that. A local gym that was giving really inexpensive memberships, and I discovered they had childcare. So I really didn't care other than that I signed up because they had childcare and they had classes. So I took a class that actually had childcare. I didn't care what the class was, and it happened to be yoga. And that class, at the end of it, we did Shavasana. If you're familiar with yoga, it's a permission to have kind of like a rest, final rest. And during that class, tears rolled down my eyes during Shavasana because that was really the first time ever that I was given permission to simply be myself. And that left me wanting more. And I guess that was really the beginning of my journey of being curious and knowing that there was other possibilities for me, that I didn't need to continue to live as I was living.
I love that. I love your story because it really, just giving yourself the permission to be, you were so busy, taking care of everyone else that you never, not once thought about, hey, what about me? What about contemplating what it takes to make me happy or to get you at peace? And I've experienced something very similar to that at a yoga class, Brigham Yoga, hot yoga. And doing that process, and my tears were just out of exhaustion. I was just tired. Maybe probably similar to yours as well, right? Probably just tired.
Yeah.
Of running around and never really relaxing and don't see an end in sight. And that brought tears to my eyes. So your story really hit home because I can relate to that. But I love that throughout the hustle and bustle, you found time to actually take care of yourself.
Yes.
Because self-care is crucial. And I know your whole coaching method is around self-care. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, You've hit the nail on the head. My type of coaching is life coaching. I specialize in life coaching and self-care for busy women and moms, because with my own journey and with that of my clients, I realize that we spend so much of our time giving, that the scales are tipped. Our self-care and our ability to find that relationship with ourselves is tipped at the bottom. And all of the things that we feel responsible for doing or guilty for doing or have designated ours is way at the top. In fact, I was just working with a client today, and that very same topic came up that, I really know it's important for me to take time to journal and read, but I'm always looking for that next thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And so even though we've named that there's things that we really deem important and valuable, and that just needs to change. So that's my journey as a life coach and wellness coach, is to really help women like me and you tip those scales in favor and having more balance. It's crucial for our world as it is.
I agree with you 100%. And that response you got from your client is very common. There's so much to do, no time. So much to do, very little time. And self-care does take the what do you call it? The wagon. It's the last on the wagon. So how do you, as a coach, and when you get that kind of response, how do you find simple ways to introduce self-care? How do you tell your clients what's the simple ways to do it? Well,
I ask them at the heart of heart, what really matters to you? If everything fell by the wayside, what would you be wanting to give yourself or to do for yourself? So I hand it back to them. And oftentimes it's nothing elaborate, like, I want to go to a spa or I want to go on a vacation. It's like what my client said. I want to give myself permission to sit and read or go to bed earlier, or I really want to go work out after, in the morning or evening, or it's just little things that for whatever reason they've told themselves it's not important enough, or they've got other things to do. So we just bring in, I call daily basics. My journey was, I really enjoy walking, but I always told myself, too busy, not today, another time. And it was only when I dialed everything back, that I realized that was a crucial piece to my life. And I didn't need to have an hour and a half, just a few minutes a day. So we break it down very simply and get to the heart of the matter. You need to drink water. Self-care should be like, you need to drink water, or, basics.
Mm-hmm. So you simplify it for your clients.
Yes.
And personalize it, because you find out what their pain point is and what they can already incorporate, because forming habit takes time. And forming habits, we need to gradually ease into it. So it's something, like you said, for you enjoyed walking. It was easy for you to get into that momentum of going for a walk. It wasn't a dramatic change. Like, you're not running a 5K. You didn't go out, say, I'm running a 5K.
Exactly. Yeah. If we try to bring too much on too soon, then what does that do? If it may or may not get done, then the client or we feel like we've failed. And so we don't bother to try again. We just deem it, it really wasn't meant to be. So starting with, like you said, one small thing at a time that's in your area of interest or passion, then from there, then you can move on from there. But yeah, making it really easy and doable.
Do you find that you're doing a lot of mindset work? Because one of the things you mentioned earlier, one of your clients says it's not important enough to do something for like a self-care item, or taking the time to read, taking the steps to actually spend time, some me time. Is it like when people say, I find it when people say it's not important enough, it equates to I'm not important enough.
Yeah.
There's a need to do some mindset shift and some mindset work there. Do you find that in your field?
Oh, yes. I would say about 99%, because we all walk in with our story of why something is or isn't, or if only. And as we peel back the layers to get to what is your why for that, we discover often, and I know it's the case for myself, that we have some old back end story that's constantly running, even though that is not the case at all. And that's exactly what my client and I worked on today was, what is this old story that's running that you're acting as if it's real? And when we pulled that back, it was like, oh my gosh, you could just see her whole presence softened and changed. And that's beautiful. So yeah, my mindset is a large part of the puzzle.
Yes. What kind of mindset would one need to achieve their goals?
The mindset of being self-compassionate and learning how to love yourself, because oftentimes we do a lot of shoulding, or not good enough, or this is going to happen. So we need to build up I call it a personal, life affirming, compassionate mindset, that how we treat, for instance, I always say, how you treat yourself, is that how you treat your good friends or your significant others? And the answer is always no, of course not. Well, I'm like, well, what is it that makes it okay for you to do that to yourself? And that kind of stops things and gets things thinking that, oh, okay, I'm talking down to myself, but I would never do that to others. And that's the journey of learning how to turn that back and talk lovingly and compassionately to ourselves as with the journey that we're on.
Right. There's a great quote out there that says we should talk to ourselves as if we're talking to a loved one.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, it's just so very true. I think we just get caught up in thinking we need to look, be, or act according to, quote, the world standard. And what is that anyway? Nothing really. It's just this weird unwritten standard that we think we need to measure everything against. And it just causes a lot of, I think, hardship and struggle. So we got to get down to the core of who we are and what we need in order to get out there and thrive and help others.
Yeah. And a lot of it too comes from these ants that we have, right? These automated negative thoughts that one rancid in our mind, that we don't know how to control them. And that's where I think affirmations come in, because we need to reframe the mind, remove these negative thoughts and replace them with something more fruitful, something more abundance, or just reframing how we see ourselves. So what is the importance of affirmations for you and for your clientele?
Yeah, affirmations are such a big deal. And that's so funny that everything you're bringing up is exactly, like I said, my recent work with my client today, that's exactly what we did. I asked her to bring in an affirmation that was hers that she could use when she felt triggered to go back to the old wagon wheel thinking, just to have it on her phone or somewhere where she could call it, because it really is about when you feel that the trigger, the ant, the automated negative thinking. If you just be aware of that, then you can flip a switch and put yourself back into what is true by using a really personal, loving affirmation. I myself, I use them several times a day. Yeah. So I work with my clients a lot. It's just valuable to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I too use them because where we live in a negative world, and we have to start changing how the conversation we have with ourselves. And affirmation is the way to start. I'm very big on it.
Oh, I am too. And I would say with affirmations, if you're one that's not used to doing them, that's a little bit of a little bump to incorporate that. I guess it's so interesting. We have to kind of start positively program ourselves that we are worth the affirmation. And then once that affirmation feels warm and comfortable in us, then we begin to flourish. So it's like this series of steps. The first time I was introduced to positive affirmations, they felt really foreign to me. I must have been at a pretty low point with my self-worth. And I part of me wanted to believe that affirmation, but part of me said, oh, you're not worth that. So recognizing that initially it may not feel good, but continue to do these affirmations because they're going to begin to change, the landscape of your emotions and your actual brain waves. So yeah, I as we're talking, I agree so much.
Yeah, repetition, because you have to train the mind, because you're looking at the subconscious mind. We operate out of the subconscious mind 95% of the time. Only 5% is conscious. You're driving it, you're on autopilot. Sometimes you blink, you're like, how did I get home? Because your subconscious took over. It learned the steps. It muscle memory. It learns all that. So it's a way to protect you, because imagine if you were alert and keen to everything around you. Your mind would like explode. So with subconscious mind, the way it works is if you want to reprogram the subconscious mind, you have to add a program that is repetitive. You have to keep repeating it for it to stick, because you can't just say it in the conscious mind and expect it to sink in. The place that it has to change is the subconscious mind. And for that to happen, you have to, meditation will help a lot. Quieting down the mind will help. And of course, the repetition of the affirmation, and that the affirmation is true. I love that you tell your clients to pick one that fits them. Pick ones that they create on their own.
Yeah, because if not, then it's not going to come from their presence and essence, and it's just not going to stick. So it has to be with those words or that energy that's theirs. And I know with my own self, the affirmations I use, I write them and say them and just get them to feel as they need to in my body and mind. But yeah, that's key, definitely.
What's a couple of affirmations that you use?
Well, one that two I've been using. One, it's just really simple, but it stops me in my tracks if I start going down the ant road, which is everything is working for me. That's it. Like when you start to go, oh yeah, I knew it. It's like, nope, everything is working for me. It incorporates the moment and in all of my life. It's like everything is working. And another one that I love is I already have all I need to move and prosper in my life.
Those are very powerful ones.
Yeah.
It brings you back to the present moment. I really like them.
Yeah.
One is one that I have is I am divinely happy. Yeah. I am divinely guided. I am divinely respected. Just letting myself, reaffirming my insecurities, like I'm already chosen.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I say that to myself in the morning and before going to bed. And I also listen to affirmations on YouTube as well.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent resource. Yeah.
Yep, I have, so because I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs and listening into what their habits and routines are, I have been able to develop an app. I'm working on developing an app that encompasses 9 actionable items that entrepreneurs do to set them up for success. And one of them, believe it or not, is affirmation.
Wow. I raise my hand in that. They have made such a big difference in my life. So I can definitely say yes.
Yes to that. Yeah. So tell us, Nancy, how do you get up, dress up, and show up in your life?
Well, it's pretty basic, but for me, it was a pretty big deal because I was doing nothing before. I would just roll out of bed and, instantly was behind, late, just dragging. So that I was like, okay, something's got to give. And I think I might have heard something on YouTube or read a book. Maybe there's Oprah too, just incorporated things. And I'm like, okay, I'm setting my alarm to get up an hour before. This was a while ago, an hour before my household wakes up. That way I will have time to get out of bed. I immediately get dressed. I teach a lot of fitness classes in the early morning. So immediately get dressed. Don't stay in my pajamas. From there, I hydrate because from having slept all night, my brain and body need the water to hydrate. So I dress, hydrate. I look, if it's nice enough, I'll go on the back deck and be in touch with God's kingdom, with nature, If it's too cold, I stand by a window and I just take in the beautiful early morning light. And then I get my hot beverage going, and I have a seat, and I'm very quiet and still. And I start my gratitude and praise for the morning that I was able to get up out of bed and have that time of quiet and peace to ground and center myself for the day. So once I do my gratitude and praise, I set intentions for loving intentions for my family members and for myself, that I will abundantly respond in all the best of ways for my day. And then once I've sat, I try to do at least 5, maybe 10 minutes of complete meditation and stillness. Once that's complete, then I get the day started getting my high school boys ready for school. I don't get them ready, but getting all their foods ready in the morning. And then I take the dog for a walk. So once that's done, that's about 7:30, 8 a.m. I'm good to start my day.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Pretty basic, but strong.
Very strong and powerful. And I counted, and you have 5. You have 5 on your list. And then those same 5 are on my application. It's pretty, it's confirming it again and again. It's really great. I love your hydration, because that's the first one on my app. And my app is called HIT Savers, and it's an acronym for each.
Oh.
The HIT Savers is an acronym for each word, and the H is for hydration, and which is essentially the first thing that you did in hydration. And I've done the study, and I wrote a book on it too, because I'm doing a whole series on every acronym. It talks about brain fog. And you said, it's the first thing you do. You need to hydrate it. At night, we are at a fasted state. We're sleeping. We're parched. We're dehydrated. And so when we wake up in the morning, it's great to help release the toxins that were built up from the night before. And also it helps with brain fog. It clears you up. It makes it easier for you to think early in the morning with the hydration piece. I like to add a dash of Himalayan salt in it, because that's high in magnesium, and it helps with absorbing minerals. And so I'm right up the alley with you about hydration first thing in the morning.
I'm going to do that. I've lately been adding ginger to my water in the morning.
Himalayan salt, just a pinch of it the night before. And I tend to prepare mine the night before so it can sit, because it's best to have it room temperature.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to incorporate that. And one other thing that I do in the morning is I do gentle movement, because when you lie down, I don't do it every morning, but when you're, reclining and you're up, your body's kind of compact and tight. And I do gentle stretches to release the connective tissue and allow my internal organs and connective tissue to be a little bit more hydrated. So I don't do it every morning, which is why I didn't say it, but it's something that really makes a big difference as well.
And now you're at 6, and that is one of the, what is on the list: exercise and stretching, yoga, whatever it may be, because it gets the blood flow going, because you've been stagnant for 6+ hours. So it's good to move the body. And so the exercise helps with giving energy throughout the day. It's fascinating how that works. But when you work out and release those happy hormones, those endorphins first thing in the morning, guess what you're carrying with you throughout the day? Those happiness. Happiness. So it's really fascinating. And your morning routine is fantastic. I love it. I love your morning routine. And I know if you're teaching your clients these things, they are learning from the best.
Oh, well, thank you.
Tell us, how can we connect with you?
An easy way to connect with me is finding me on my website, nancystevenscoaching.com. And from there, I have all of my social media buttons. So you can scroll around on my website, find out a little bit more about me. And if you want to see what I'm posting, usually daily on Pinterest, Instagram, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, you can hit one of the hot buttons on my website and find me there and catch up with me there.
Thank you for sharing. I'd like to do a brief recap usually for the audience. And I want to talk cover what you talked about, the empowerment mindset. You need affirmation to actually empower yourself. You need affirmations to get rid of negative thoughts that, or, somebody else's story, something that you grew up with that is not true, that not necessarily fit your lifestyle or where you want to go. So you got to change those thoughts. And so you talked about affirmation, the importance of affirmation. You also talked about simple ways to introduce self-care to your busy life. And it's just identifying something that works for you. Don't go from A to Z. If it's a short walk that you need to do to gradually get into exercising and stretching in the morning, whatever it may be, but start small and then acknowledge that self-care is for you, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't really take care of anybody else.
Yeah, so very true. Yeah, I think we try to make it we love to make it really complex, thinking that it has to have all these, but when it comes down to it, no, it doesn't. You need to make it very simple so you'll do it and grow and flourish from that.
Absolutely. I thank you so much for your presence and for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. It's been really fun. Love your work.
Thank you.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,